Alright, welcome back to another session of Chin Chai Podcast. Please stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go!
One for you boys in Melbourne. We rep the Melbourne streets, but our roots run deep from SG to the world. To survive, we keep talking life, new things on the daily grind. Chin Chai flow, man, we always shine.
Kita sampai tapi tetap terbang tinggi. Dari timur ke barat kita takkan mati. Bincang apa saja tak kira masa. Chin Chai Podcast sampai kita rasa.
From the millions roar to the trams that glide, bringing that culture mix, no need to hide. Everyday talk, what's poppin' next? Tuning in, lean back, we keep it flexed.
Jom kita chill, let's vibe all night. From SG to Melbourne, we keep it tight. Okay, Chin Chai lah.
Okay, Chin Chai lah.
And welcome back to the Chin Chai Podcast session number 2. Selamat datang kembali. Hidi masih di sini.
Selamat datang. Huan Ling semua.
That's it baby. Alright, welcome back. Okay, dah lapar tu.
Kau mana tak lapar? Sebab tu aku tutup perut.
Aduh. Anyway, Tomahawk tadi kau cakap.
Si.
Makan Tomahawk. So one thing about Australia, kita suka barbecue. Kita suka masak daging. Daging ni murah lah, cakap kan. You can get rib eye steak, or you can get your normal porterhouse, even tomahawk. Tomahawk kau nak masak macam mana ni tomahawk ni?
Aku pan fry dulu. So aku pan fry the sides.
Okay.
For 2-3 minutes on the stove.
Okay.
Dan lepas tu aku masuk oven for 35 minutes. Medium rare, brother.
Medium rare.
Lepas tu kau tengok dia lemak-lemak dia. Class 1 division man. Kau buat aku lapar hari ni.
Tomahawk Aduh.
Lepas tu kan, the best part apa tau? Bukan, other than dia punya isi dia, dia punya tulang kau gigit. Dia cakap jin suka makan tulang.
Dia makan tulang. Waduh.
Dia punya tulang punya sedap.
Tomahawk. Maybe
Macam lepas ni kita pergi lah.
ni next bucket list. Tomahawk.
Alamak, ingat lepas ni
Baik kerja. Baik di sekolah bro.
sekali-sekala cabut lah.
Aduh, kalau boleh lah, the end of the year orang minta assignment. Anyway,
tak apa. Bulan 1 bila? Bulan 1 January you'll be more relaxed.
January more relaxed a bit.
So I look forward to coming to your place for more barbecue.
Okay, kita barbecue on. itu pun dah sama, takut fire restriction. Sini sama, diorang ada fire restriction. You tak boleh bakar-bakar time sama because the temperature can reach up to 41, 42 tops.
Yeah. I think when they hit certain temperature baru dia issue the warning kan, then kau tak boleh barbecue lah.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure 100%. Talking about that, tadi kau berbual pasal makanan Afghan. Mak Datuk. Apa nasi dia nama dia?
Kabuli Palau.
Kabuli Palau, ya Allah, sedap. So Kabuli Palau ni is nasi Afghan. Okay, dia macam nasi minyak. Dia ada kismis dengan raisins dengan dengan carrot kismis.
Kismis Sejak masuk TikTok ni abang ni bagus lah Melayu.
Macam benda aku belajar. Yeah man, so it was one of the nice nasi minyak Afghan.
Simple dish
Simple dish, but it's nice with the rampir lamb shank dia.
Alamak. Dah nanti podcast buat pasal nanti kita cerita makanan pula ni.
Apa dul. Tapi kalau let's see, kalau kau jual kat Malaysia atau kau jual kat Singapore, apa nama dia? Kabuli Palau. Itu boleh fly aku rasa.
Aku rasa tu boleh tu.
Boleh.
But there's one famous punya chef I can't remember his name orang KL.
Chef Amar.
I think recently dia baru buka kedai kat Singapore.
Is it? I'm not too sure.
Is it him?
I don't know. Not too sure.
I think so. Nanti aku double check.
Chef Amar was one of the pioneers, the godfathers of this nasi
minyak.
Nasi minyak lamb shank. Yeah man. One of the pioneers.
Aku kan tengok video dia. I can see that I saw one video clip that one also moved me to tears
Right.
There was one period of time. So dia punya kerja lama dia resign. Then after that one point of time dia dah tak ada duit tau. Sampai dah tak ada duit. Dan dia pergi tengah solat dekat masjid. Ada kucing ni datang kat dia tau. asyik minta makan tau.
Okay.
So eventually he went to buy for the kucing 5 paket makan. Aku nak cerita ni pun macam nak nangis juga. Rezeki datang daripada Allah.
Okay.
So dia kasih kucing ni makan.
Chef Amar apa?
Chef Amar.
Okay.
Dia kasih kucing ni makan.
Uh-huh.
Bila dia bawa balik, then rupanya kucing tu ada anak dia lagi lah.
Alright.
Ada anak-anak dia lagi tau.
Oh.
Then he brought back the whole family. The wife cakap, abang ni gila ke abang? Kita dah tak ada cukup duit, abang bawa kucing balik macam mana nak jaga?
Okay.
That's what I'm just quoting what he say lah kan.
Okay.
You know, then after that, dengan tiba-tiba rezeki Allah dia dapat orang suruh dia masak jemputan.
Alright.
Daripada situ lah dia punya rezeki tak putus lah. So I remember we shared this before pasal duit. Doa, usaha, ikhtiar dengan tawakal. That's it. So that is the duit concept lah kalau siapa tak tahu. Fantastic, bro. It was good, man. Bila aku dengar, yalah, kita kadang fikir rezeki ni tak cukup, kita kerja banyak-banyak ni bulanan asyik habis. So I think rezeki akan datang daripada mana-mana lah.
Correct.
But the thing is that cara kita nak jemput rezeki tu macam mana. You know, what we going to do when we have extra.
Betul.
You know, orang yang tak ada duit ni, dia lagi sanggup kasih orang yang lagi perlu. You see, that's why there's a saying that if you want to improve yourself, look at the people who are lower than you or lower than you than people who are higher than you.
100%, I agree.
Betul. You see, but that story, I mean, when I saw it was a very short video clip but then it really touches me
Okay.
Itu, I mean, amazing
Right.
On that day itself dia bawa balik kucing tu. Orang datang 300 jemputan.
Yeah.
Satu kepala RM35. I still remember.
If I can remember, there's a saying, rezeki tak salah alamat, if I'm not mistaken.
Rezeki tak ada itu bahasa pasar.
Bahasa pasar orang lah, you know, rezeki tak salah alamat, you know. But yeah, at the end of the day is aku rasa it's rezeki lah, you know, selagi kita ikhtiar, you know, kita doa, and then we still search for it, everything will fall in place by itself lah.
Correct.
That's for sure. Now in saying that as well, Zul, so ada orang tanya, okay, so I think some of the listeners really dengar kita punya podcast, so they know that you were an ex-policeman from Singapore.
Macam mana tahu?
So diorang dengar lah podcast kan. So sesiapa yang really dengar to know who we are, I think that is one of the things. So you were an ex-police officer for quite a while actually. Lama juga then now diorang tanya, so what is the difference? Aku rasa I do not want to jump into your specialty pasal it will terbuka cases that, you know, does not relate lah or confidential. I say, okay. So now aku rasa diorang nak tahu kan, what is the difference between the police, let's say the police in Singapore and here in Australia itself.
Yeah, so just a short intro lah. You know, so dulu I remember, so that time I took diploma in chemical engineering. Kononnya nak kerja dekat Exxon lah, Shell lah, you know, all those refinery lah. You see, then after that, then 2001 Asia recession. So after susah nak cari kerja kat private sector lah. Dan aku dah lah kena pergi NS. Aku tak suka army. So nak cabut army pasal aku sayang polis. So I sayang polis 2001 and then happen. So normally kalau training dekat academy kan is about 8 months tak salah. I remember my time is about 8 months lah. Ke 9 months I can't remember. Then that time kan kena 911. So kita early graduation lah. 6 months habis semua. You know. Then of course lah kat Police Academy macam cerita lah, yang lama punya kat Thomson Road tu.
Right.
Sampai kawan aku, diorang malam-malam buat duty, bunker duty tu. Nampak kakak lompat atas katil, babe.
Okay.
Yeah, so then after that, then I first started off in uniform lah. Dekat Bukit Panjang.
Okay.
And then I still remember my last day kan. So you see the thing is that time I was really new lah kan. Kita tak tahu macam mana, you know, first time pegang pistol, you know, dengan live ammunition kat dalam kan. You see, but the thing is that of course kat Singapore kalau kau nak tembak pun there's a lot of paperwork you have to put up later lah kan.
Berbeza
Berbeza
here
lah,
when you
you
hold
know.
a firearm here dengan firearm in Singapore. So
Very different.
I think Malaysia also is, I'm not sure. Maybe I can interview ada ex-police Malaysia ada juga. Maybe we can do some differences. Okay.
Then my last day dekat Bukit Panjang tu kan, before I went to the division, kerja kat division, then aku kena case terjun lah.
Okay.
Aku dah ada height phobia.
Alright. Okay.
Pagi-pagi lepas subuh, pukul 6 pagi, orang telefon polis. Oh, I saw a dead body at the void deck. Lama, kita baru nak handover.
Habis lah.
Kita kena attend lah pasal handover pukul 7.
Okay.
So pergi lah. Alamak, kawan aku terpijak di tengkorak lah. Pasal dia landed head first from 25th floor.
Okay.
So landed head first, and itu first time lah aku nampak orang terjun lah.
Okay. Apa kau rasa?
But I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But the thing is that bila nak kena tengok bawah tu,
Okay.
nak kena tengok bawah tu aku body pasal aku dah height phobia.
Okay.
And then the other one was case gantung, Chinaman.
Alright.
Gantung diri kat construction site.
Okay.
Dah lah aku first time attend that kind of case gantung kan.
Okay.
Aku punya in charge lah, so aku pegang dia punya mayat.
Okay.
Lepas tu dia gunting dia punya leash dia. So that itu aku kena sih reverse dia punya last breath lah. Yeah, but then so after I finished the uniform site, I joined the investigation branch.
Oh, I see.
That is where all the excitement start lah.
I see.
Kerana tak tidur, kerja 2-3 hari tak balik.
Oh, investigation.
It is,
So that means
investigation lah.
you investigate cases lah.
So I started off with general investigation.
Okay.
That means capalang punya lah.
Okay.
Case mati lah, curi daripada kedai lah.
Okay.
And then
Macam CSI ke apa?
No,
it's
different.
not CSI. Okay.
Then after that I went on to specialized crime.
Okay.
That one is specialized. So I joined the house breaking and robbery squad.
I see. Do you do interrogation as well or no?
Oh, you cannot say interrogation, but interview.
Interview. I see. Interview. So you do interview as well lah.
Of course lah, pasal kita tangkap orang. But the excitement is
Aku rasa kan kalau kita ada next guest kali boleh buka interview mode macam ni, aku tahu.
boleh.
Where have you been at this point of time?
What have you been doing? Based on these records, we found you doing this and this and this and this.
That's it, baby. That's it. Alright.
So everything has to be very detailed lah.
Okay.
Kita tangkap orang.
Right.
And then for us, like in macam kalau kita on the spot tangkap orang,
Yep.
we have a book that we can write in, so that in case if the case goes trial, then kita punya buku tu boleh tender lah
As an evidence.
as part of evidence that the accused admitted at scene.
Okay.
So senang kan, you see. But so I resigned that time after 9 years lah. After 9 years, then after that came over to Australia. First time tengok berita Australia. Mak, oi, dia punya polis kat sini pun boleh tahan
Boleh tahu macam mana tu?
As in, I can see
more legs ke?
More legs lah.
More legs.
Habis there was one case dekat Sydney that time. This orang gila ni, dia tembak police station. Polis datang belasan orang. Imagine semua tembak dia balik.
Wah, semua tembak dia balik. Satu
Just
orang.
satu orang je lah.
Oh, easy.
So I was like, wah, dia kecoh ni.
Asal dia tak taste je? I thought there was a protocol. Taste first.
I don't know I don't know what's the protocol here. I cannot judge.
Okay.
I mean different country has different rule of engagement.
Okay.
You see, like for us in Singapore, kita ada taser. Our first point of contact will be taser lah.
Yeah.
Unless if really your life is really in danger,
So the next step,
then
if it's escalated, baru
you shoot to injure.
Okay.
Yeah, but over here I was like, wow, this is very different ball game.
So
Then my ex-colleague, when I was working in Sydney, Tani, why don't you join the police force since you're ex-cop?
exactly. Why not?
I cannot take it. And then because I also then as time goes by, campur orang dekat Sydney, they also say that they call police a few times for break-in apa semua. Police take 2-3 hours to come.
Oh yeah. Is
See.
it because of the location, or is it far, or is it priority based on the priority level?
Maybe based on priority level, I think. I don't know, but it takes them ages to arrive at scene You see. So macam maybe they are busy lah. Kita tak, because what I know is that Australia pun shortage of policemen. Macam nurses lah. Shortage of nurses. Habis sekarang now police also trying to ask for better pay over here.
Sini one thing, I think even the ambos as well.
Even ambulance. Ambulance. Kalau orang tak tahu, sini short form ambos. Orang tapi it's actually ambulance lah. They also asking for pay rise.
Yeah, man. I think
You see?
it's just that the way that it's been run here, how it is, and in the long run. So in terms of culture wise, yeah, it's nothing culture shock lah, you know, in the long run. But in saying that, so kita nak kena tahu juga lah, you know, where and how that we can understand how, like I said lah, you dah pindah sini, you dah tahu you punya apa, the atmosphere, you understand the rules and everything kan. So I think that is based on the facts lah that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's why down here, you know, when they say that youth crime is going up, kat Singapore, I think you know lah, kita ada that juvenile court.
I didn't
Kan kat Singapore ada juvenile court, juvenile prison.
Right.
So it's like, then sini I was surprised lah, you know, you're on bail, you commit crime, you go on bail again, commit crime on bail again. When are you going to end? You see? So I'm again, I'm not judging different country, different law by itself. You see, but that's why I say in Singapore it's easier. I mean, it's more senang nak investigate lah.
I think they have a tagline back then: "Low crime doesn't mean no crime."
Correct. You see, we still got crime there. But the things that we as prosecutor, policeman kan prosecutor kan, we have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you have the intention to commit a crime.
For sure.
You see, kalau kat Singapore dia kata dia gila, kita hantar IMH, and then the psychiatrist will make an assessment.
Right.
Sini, kat Australia, dia kata dia gila, tak ada case.
Right.
You get me?
No, there is a case.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah.
There is a case. They put under orang kata apa, monitor list in a way. Kan. Then after that they send for site evaluation as well. And then after that, then they determine from there. You see, they
Okay lah, maybe I saw on the surface reading the, you know how news sometimes they need. Yeah, I should go and find out more. But
they do have a site evaluation. But at the end of the day, it's from a public perspective view. Dorang ada macam, you know, to ease the public first. But in saying that as well, I believe they are doing their job lah.
Yalah.
Some escalation, which is
Correct.
like I said, it boils down to their investigative unit. So orang branch out.
Correct.
Policemen respond.
Yep.
The police officer respond to the scene. Yada. Then they hand over to the investigative scene.
Investigator. Correct.
Then the investigation team will kick in. Then after that, they will do their conclusion. After they done the conclusion, then they pass it over to the Attorney General itself. Then to see how it goes. So there is a process.
There's a process lah.
Nampak? Aku bukan policeman, kau tahu. Alamak.
Kalau pasal kau kat Australia dah lama.
Tak ada.
Ni kena buat research. But again, you know, but because Australia is big, so it takes time to solve a big, macam kata orang murder, macam example lah, murder case lah. It really takes quite some time to investigate lah. I think some cases as old as 20 over plus years pun ada sih.
Really?
Sih. Still cannot find who is the killer ni semua, you know.
There's a lot of unsolved cases.
Cases.
Negeri besar. You know, I think in anywhere, even in Malaysia as well. In Singapore jarang, but in places like really big countries, even in the US, big continent, you know, I rasa you still have these cases which is unsolved murders, unsolved result of kidnapping, and all that. Banyak lah. But yeah, man. So, in your conclusion, in regards to this police the difference is lain lah.
Lain. It's very very different lah. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm talking from experience in what I've done in Singapore before and what I've seen here lah. Maybe, I mean, I seen it on the surface, you know, but it's definitely a different ball game here lah. You see, very different ball game.
So true.
But again, you know, don't take things for granted lah. Every country pun ada dia punya law and order lah kan.
100%.
See, so especially macam kita ni as migrant ni kan, you know, better
aku tak.
Kau pun lain. Aku migrant. Tapi you know, just exchange. But I think the thing is, just play by the law, you know.
Same. Aku rasa kalau orang find this a bit crazy, but you know, case in point, you have to ask yourself what's your target. Macam mana aku tanya, macam aku cakap, sama juga aku will place the question on you. What is your goal at the end of the day?
Betul.
Lu tak ada tujuan and
itu tujuan dah.
Lu jangan mau cakap banyak lah, banyak bising lah. But yeah, man. Aku rasa aku dah campur banyak sangat orang. Anyway, yeah, man, that is actually a great insight as well. Now, let's just say, in terms of retrospective, if you were the Minister of Law down here, what will you do as your first time in the office by yourself?
I think it's to improve the youth crime here,
Okay.
to deter the youth crime. I
Okay.
think currently now, if you read the news, a lot of offences are done by the youth.
Right.
You see, so I mean, I'm not the person to judge how the country manages their youth laws here.
Yep.
You see, but of course, if we can tighten it, hopefully youth crime will go down lah. Because I mean, kita pun ada anak, we also do not want them to follow
100%.
that footstep. You see,
I agree 100%.
so yeah lah. For me, the first thing will be tackling the youth crime here lah. Yeah.
But in saying that as well, one thing is the youth crime. Okay, then what would be the second thing you do then?
Second thing is improve the work-life condition of our current policemen.
Okay. Why?
Because I think there must be a reason why they're asking for pay rise, kan? And even I remember reading one article, the police minister pun cakap there are shortage of policemen.
Which is surprising.
That's surprising, see. Working in the government sector, but you're still short. So it goes to show that something may not be right. We do not know.
Semua dah jadi penyamun.
Penyamun.
Penyamun lagi lucrative in the long run. But I
so
think
maybe that results in some, why some police office, why the police sekarang take their time to respond to cases lah apa semua.
look, I think in that perspective, it's based on ratio. Okay, you have to understand from the location of the division or the police center itself, there is a ratio from community base. Let's just say if this residential area ada dalam 1,000 atau 2,000 orang. Now, how many police officers are actually assigned for that ratio as well? No doubt about this. Police in Australia sini, dorang kerja is gila babang.
Memang susah.
It's really tough.
Yeah,
It's
tough
really
lah.
tough. Why I say
Correct.
that really tough? Comparing to Asian countries, yes, we know other these type of things, but down here, you must be physically fit. Most about 80% to 90%. The police officer semua badan sapau, really sadu terkau. The reason why is because they have to be ready to run, they have to be ready to respond. Okay, and then yang the perpetrators atau I would say the person who is committing these crimes or whatever, diorang punya badan pun bukan kaling-kaling punya badan. Dia punya badan memang real to go.
Correct.
And then some of them are drug fuel as well. When they are drug fuel, they become very strong to a point it's very hard to overpower them. So that's why the police officers here nak kena betul-betul fit. You must be freaking fit to do it, man.
Yeah, but one thing I really commend how they are actually trying to crack down all these illegal drugs going around. They're really they're putting a lot of effort.
I mean, this drug things has been going on for years, but the problem is the initiative from the government itself also need to partake, because they don't partake to a point where they allow it to happen, getting public injection rooms. Remember in the city? So with these public injection rooms does not deter the problem. Instead, it creates a culture. That's the problem. If you deter the problem from the root, then orang kata apa, okay, we make an official stance on this. No means no. Then the whole culture will change.
We won't know. They really take a strong stance on all these illegal drugs, all this drug abuse.
So bukan nak cakap, no one's perfect at the end of the day, kan? But at least orang kata apa, you have adab lah. You're taking this thing, you have user, respect the public in a way, kan? But at the end of the day,
once you're influenced under drugs, it's not easy lah, brother.
100%. Aku agree.
The influence, how you going to, what you going to do pun kadang kau tak ingat sih.
For sure, man. For sure.
That's why kalau kadang aku pergi shopping center ke apa, kalau macam I know that tempat is macam memang tempat pemadat aku kalau diri ke apa tunggu orang ke apa, aku cari kamera je.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just to stand somewhere near kamera in case kalau ada apa-apa kan.
So everything is captured lah.
Right. Biasalah dulu policeman.
Okay. Talking about policeman joke dulu kan kita dah cakap kan, dulu kan policeman pakai seluar pendek.
Kau Sal?
Sekarang policeman masih pakai seluar pendek kat sini.
Itu kalau cuaca panas.
Yeah, exactly lah. Still wearing shorts kan. But yeah, man, aku rasa big respects to the police,
coppers here.
to the coppers
They
here.
really work hard. They try their best.
They really
to,
work hard
to
That's for
protect.
sure. Yeah, man, to protect the public and all that. And don't get me wrong, they are friendly. Cuma I think depending on your approach on them.
Correct.
They like recent cases was very traumatizing lah. Especially yang case baru yang budak India
rodok policeman tu kan.
He was asking the right questions. He was very friendly in approach. Tapi tu budak India ni dah sort.
He was captured on the copper punya body cam. The guy just came.
Oh, that one was, but it's a clear cut. He has something behind his back because he was putting his hands at the back by himself. Kan, itu was a clear cut. I don't understand why he make the approach closer.
The thing is, I don't know why it's difficult to judge because sometimes you have people walking in such a manner. But of course you have to be on standby lah.
Yeah.
You cannot take for granted lah. Macam kalau kita approach kat Singapore when dulu kita pakai uniform when we approach a drunk person atau drug abuse, kita will standby our ammunition. I mean as in our baton ke apa lah. You know, kita approach dengan ni lah. But I think maybe it came as a surprise lah because based on the call was like he was asking for help ni semua kan.
Right.
But then I think the cop also did not expect. But I mean, respect them lah. They are taking all this abuse also lah.
Oh, for sure. 100%,
you get what I mean?
100%.
It's not easy being a cop. Even in Singapore dulu pun sama. You know, I still remember I got a court case. Kita kena maki amun saya dalam court.
Oh, right.
By the accused punya parents.
Right.
You see, sampai the judge has to intervene lah. You know. So I mean, it's never easy being a cop lah. Never easy. But I mean, the main thing is respect each other. The cops are also doing their job. They talk to you nicely, you talk to them nicely.
Right.
That is the only thing that can help you out lah.
But aku tak boleh angkat is those Karens. Those people who, you see, they are doing their job. If you just comply, okay, and that's it. Dah finish kan. Tapi korang nak lawan balik, oh this is my right.
Leceh kan. Susahkan diri
Yeah, you make yourself into trouble. And then after that you menyusahkan diri. You want to show off that you know the law. Wait until something happen to you, then you can show off lah. You have nothing to hide. Just comply lah, in my opinion. No, this is content creating, bro. You see, content creating to the extent is absolutely waste of time and rubbish.
True. Even that day, you see, if you are good to the cops, that day I watched this Highway Patrol. You know, Australia every Wednesday they have this show called Highway Patrol.
Yes.
So this cop stopped a youngster tau, because his car was very bising . So the youngster came out and talked like as if, you know, they like
nothing wrong.
Doesn't respect the cop. So the cop told him, if we talk in a nice way, we can talk about this whole issue. So after that, eventually the cop just let him simmer down. You see the things that the coppers here I notice, diorang ada that human touch, empathy.
Yep.
As long as you respect them, as much as they respect you, you're fine. Don't be a Karen.
Exactly.
The moment you start, you can forget about it.
So don't be a Karen.
Don't be a Karen, okay?
Don't be a Karen, you bloody Karen. You Karen.
Jangan sih.
Don't be a Karen.
And then at the end of the day, instead of issuing him so many fines, he gave him yang ringan-ringan sikit lah, because he apologized to the cop.
Let's cakap depan kamera, don't be a Karen.
Don't be a Karen. Nama tattoo ni.
Don't be a Karen, you kanina. Dia okay apa? Tak ada filter apa?
Kanina.
Exactly.
KNN betul.
KNN betul. Okay, alright. Let's take a break now, and then we move on to the next session.
Alright.
Guys,
Thank you everyone.
Stand by.
Lagi nak dikongsi. We'll be back for the next session.